Have you also seen his arguments with regards to Nostrae Aetate?
No, but I have my own arguments about Nostrae Aetate.
Do you necessarily hold to it or no?
I think it's ambiguous. It's not. It doesn't contradict papal infallibility. Um, but Nostrae Aetate is ambiguous and is possibly an error.
Yeah, I
I
do
have
find
another
some
video
of
on
it
this
to
as
be
well.
I find some of it to be interesting.
It
I think my
has to
main two,
it has to
yeah,
do with establishing hold on. The issue with Nostra Aetate. Sorry, the issue with Nostra Aetate is the Abrahamic faith, is that implicit or explicit? Can we hold as it can we hold that Abrahamic faith is an explicit belief that we're applying implicitly to the Muslims? If that's the case, then you have a philosophical problem.
yeah. I mean, there's also other stuff that I do not agree with regards to Nostra Aetate. Wait, let me think what it was. Um, so I mean, if you read it, right? Um, I think it also like absolves the Jews of the crucifixion, which I just find like a bit interesting because if you read the New Testament, the Jews like proudly take you know pride in the crucifixion. They literally say, "Let His blood be upon us and our children." So I mean,
Yeah, but technically
yeah.
speaking, um, the Romans are who killed Jesus. And that's part of the dramatic irony of the whole thing, of the whole crucifixion narrative, passion narrative, is that the Jews couldn't they couldn't sentence Jesus to a blasphemy charge. They couldn't find him guilty of blasphemy, or else they would have stoned him and put him to death. So instead, it's the tension and the irony is in the underhandedness of the leader of the Jews to bring them to Caesar's court and accuse him of being a a political criminal. So
Yeah, yeah, true.
the way that the church fathers interpret it is they rejected their sovereign lord for Caesar, right? That's the
Hmm.
irony of all of this. But ultimately, it's the Romans who put Jesus to death. And Pilate, as writes above Jesus' head, "Here's
Hmm.
Jesus, King of the Jews." Um, so, because the Romans are the ones who actually execute Jesus, not just the Jews, but also the Gentiles. So everybody's basically implicated in the death of Christ.
Right. I thought that's interesting because I tend to hold the like I don't deny that the Romans played a role in the crucifixion, but I just tend to view it as the Jews were extremely adamant on the crucifixion and basically I mean they were just like bloodthirsty and they just wanted the cross like they wanted the crucifixion to happen. So, you know.
I mean, that's the thing. We can't judge their hearts. And the thing is the whole like idea of blood libel, um, it's not sustainable because in one reading, it could have just been that the blood libel would in one reading, right? A possible reading for the blood libel is that it only would apply to the the Jews that were there within the court. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So we wouldn't be able to apply that quote unquote blood curse on all the children of Israel.
Yeah, 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 no, I agree. I'm not saying that all
No, no, yeah,
Jews
I
are
don't think you're saying
responsible
that
for the
either. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I don't I'm not saying that they're responsible for the crucifixion. However, I'm just simply pointing out that the Pharisees, right, and the religious leaders at the time, and I mean, I could argue that the modern day rabbis would be somewhat descendants of them, uh, are technically responsible for the crucifixion in some sense. But I'm not saying that every single Jew on earth is responsible, is guilty of deicide, so
Right. But if you're a supersessionist, then you could try to rationalize it that way, which is a problem.
hmm
Got 4 minutes left. It's a long video, but
hmm
it you might find it interesting if you know, I know you said it's been a while since you watched the J Dyer video, so like this might be a way where you can like watch it with us, because
yeah.
we basically watched it together and we kind of like you know made our points while it was going, and the video is going pretty fast, so
But don't you have epistemic certainty? How do you grant that on epistemology? Oh my goodness. Are you also familiar with this one argument that he likes to bring up, which is that, how there's a lot of like, there's this widespread, epidemic of liturgical abuses in the church?
do you want to see my videos? Here, I'm just going to post a bunch of videos, okay? Because
Yeah,
you're
sure.
asking all these questions that we've already talked about in here in a second.
No, I mean, I've already seen people deal with these arguments. I just wanted to like,
If you're
I just
interested
wanted
in
to know
my
what you
take,
think.
here it is.
Yeah,
Basically, you can't maintain that they're the same liturgical rite. And secondly, because if you say that it's a different form, which that's what Summorum Pontificum says, that it's a different form but the same rite, that's a philosophical issue. I can
so
understand
how?
what Pope
Mhm.
Benedict was trying to do, but if that's the thing, Summorum Pontificum is going to be a case in which the Pope actually misinterprets Vatican II documents. So now the chain of
Right,
custody of the papacy in interpreting Vatican II is broken. The irony of this would be that Pope Benedict was an advocate for the hermeneutic of continuity since Vatican II, but he's the one that breaks the continuity because he tries to
right.
maintain through an encyclical that it is of the same rite but two different forms. Philosophically, he
hmm
can't sustain this distinction. You either have to say that it is a new liturgical rite, which that's totally fine if it is, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with a Novus
Or you
Ordo. I'm
have
not. I
to,
don't. Yeah,
yeah. But he
yeah. I mean, like, I
understands
don't.
that historically that can't be maintained because of Lefebvre. You get
Yeah,
what I
like
mean?
the
That's why it's
SSPX. Yeah,
right. So the first two videos are on that issue, right? This particular issue about the liturgical rite of Vatican II and how it's interpreted, okay? And then the last two videos are on Nostrae Aetate 3 and Lumen Gentium 16 on
I'm gonna be
Abrahamic faith.
subscribing. Yeah,
Oh,
subscribe. Hey,
oh man, I'm trying to get the patience of Job in here. I gotta decompress for a little bit, arguing with dumb people. How y'all's New Year been so far?
good, good. Uh,
Mm,
yeah.
okay. hmm What was y'all talking about when I came in, or nothing going on?
No, we were just discussing typical Eastern Orthodox arguments against Catholicism.
Mm,
We were just specifically we were talking about just now we were talking about the different liturgies, like the liturgy in the church. So yeah.
okay. Um. Uh.
Are you a Christian, by the way?
Yeah, I am.
It,
I went from Christian to agnostic back to Christian. Yeah.
what denomination specifically?
I would have. I mean, if I had to consider it, like I'm more of like I guess you could say a Seventh-day Adventist. Like, but I don't attend the church, so I guess I can't claim the orthodoxy of that,
I
or
mean,
excuse me, the branch of that.
yeah, I mean, if you're a Seventh Day Adventist, you're not really a Christian, but yeah, okay, it's like, but yeah, it's all good.
Well, hold on. Can you give me an example of why not?
Well, I mean, the whole point of, well, I mean, the idea of Seventh Day Adventism
Hmm.
is, I mean, you have Ellen G. White made a lot of false prophecies. I mean, that pretty much contradicts what Christ says in the Gospels, like,
Yeah,
because Christ
no,
warns of false prophets.
right.
And she made a lot of false prophecies. And you obviously have keeping of the Sabbath, right? Keeping of the Jewish holiday, which, I mean, I don't know how a Christian can do that, considering the fact that we're no longer under an old covenant. But yeah.
Well, no, hold on. But see, the Sabbath wasn't a covenant, that was a commandment. And it's the fourth commandment specifically.
Right. And it's been fulfilled by Christ. So we're no longer in
And,
the
well,
old
hold on.
covenant.
That necessarily I would have to disagree with you.